like them, do subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends and family. So today we will talk about the Nahabat in which Holy Mother lived. We all know in Dakshineswar she lived for quite a number of years, and she lived in this small little place called Nahabat. And in this place, she lived for 8 years, and it was such a small little space. So, Swami Chetanananda ji says in his book, Holy Mother first came to Dakshineswar in March 1872 when she was 18 years 3 months old and lived with the Master approximately 8 years in Dakshineswar. So here we will go on to read about how this Nahabat looked, and she had to go through lots of hardships in this place. Yet she says she considered her time living with the Master in Dakshineswar to be the most glorious period of her life. She later joyfully recalled, "Those were my blissful days. The Master put a picture of bliss in my heart." Holy Mother, however, went through lots of hardships in the Nahabat. This two-storied brick structure in Dakshineswar, it still stands. It is about 75 feet north of Ramakrishna Dev's room on the bank of the Ganges. The upper level of the Nahabat commands a panoramic view of the sacred river, the temple complex, and the flower gardens. Holy Mother lived on the ground floor. It was a tiny room, a tiny octagonal room that is about 50 square feet only. Swami Gambhirananda ji describes it thus. The mother lived downstairs, and this is an octagonal shaped room, each wall measuring 3 feet 3 inches in width. The distance between the walls across the floor is 7 feet 9 inches, and the floor area is as little less than 50 square feet. The only opening door in the southern side is 4 feet 2 inches by 2 feet 2 inches. There are 2 vents. There is another door in the southern corner of the veranda for the kitchen. The width of the veranda is 4 feet 3 inches, and the height of the room is 9 feet 3 inches. Probably later, the vents were sealed up and the 2 doors were added, one on the north and the other on the west. So in this 50 square feet room, the mother lived. All around the room is a narrow veranda, about 4 feet wide, with 2 doors leading into the room. The room had 2 vents but no windows, and for the sake of privacy, the veranda was surrounded by plain bamboo screen, which offered privacy but blocked sunlight and fresh air. Under the stairs in the southern corner, there is a low space that Holy Mother used for cooking. That tiny room in the Nahabat was her bedroom, living room, shrine, workplace, storage room. It also served as a guest room when Ramakrishna's niece, Lakshmi, and other women devotees visited from Calcutta would stay overnight. After the Master's passing away, Holy Mother would talk about the Nahabat thus. "I used to live in the Nahabat. Oh, how much hardships I had to go through to live in that tiny room. I had to store all my belongings and groceries in it. From the ceiling hung a pot in a sling containing live fish used for Master's meals. They splashed in the water all night. The master had a weak stomach. He could not digest the oily and spicy food offered to Mother Kali. So in the Nahabat, I cooked for him, for the devotees also. Surendra Mitra provided 10 rupees every month for household expenses, and Senior Gopal would buy the groceries. I had to make chapatis from 6 to 8 pounds of flour. The master brought Latu, who worked for Ram Datta, and said, "This boy is good. He will help you knead the dough." Ram Datta came by carriage and said, "Today I shall eat chana dal and chapati." No sooner had I heard this than I started cooking. When Rakhal stayed with the master, I often cooked khichdi for him. I spent many hours cooking. Sometimes I lived alone in the Nahabat, and from time to time, Lakshmi, Yogin, Golap, Gaudashi, and others stayed with me. I used to bathe at 4 o'clock in the morning. When there was a little sunshine on the steps in the afternoon, I would dry my hair. I then had very thick hair. The fisherwomen were my companions. When they came to bathe in the Ganges, they kept their baskets on the veranda of the Nahabat and went down for their dip. They would tell me many stories and then collect their baskets and leave. At night, I used to hear the fishermen sing as they caught fish in the Ganges. Many devotees came to the master, and there was continuous singing, dancing, kirtan, bhava, and samadhi in his room. I made a hole in the bamboo screen and stood behind it to watch what was going on in the master's room. Because I stood for long periods of time, I developed rheumatism. While listening to the kirtan, I thought that if I were a devotee, I could stay in the master's room and with the master and listen to him speak. So, in spite of everything, she said how beautiful her days were there, how joyful. Another painful aspect of Holy Mother's life in the Nahabat comes to our mind, and that is there was no bathing place or toilet facilities in the Nahabat. Moreover, the temple garden was a public place that offered very little privacy. Holy Mother was so modest that she kept herself veiled to hide her face from the people she did not know. During the dark hours of the morning, she would go to the jungle on the bank of the Ganges to answer the call of nature and then would bathe in the Ganges. Later, she recalled her sad plight. I suffered terribly by suppressing the urge to answer the call of nature and thus developed intestinal problems. If I felt the urge during the day, I controlled it till evening and prayed to the Lord to spare me embarrassment. Only during the dark hours of the night could I go out. What discomfort! Later, Yogin Ma, a woman devotee of the Master, realized Holy Mother's predicament and arranged to have an outhouse built near the Nahabat. Holy Mother recalled, one day the Master said to Hriday, "You see, I was a little anxious about her. She's a village girl and not accustomed to living in this place where there is no toilet. I would be embarrassed if someone saw her going to ease herself in the bushes and made a comment. But she is so discreet and no one knows when she goes to answer the call of nature. Even I have never seen her." I was anxious when I heard this and thought, my goodness, the Divine Mother shows him whatever he wants. Now, if I go to the bushes, he may see me. I then earnestly prayed to the Divine Mother, "O Mother, please protect my modesty." My loving mother always shielded me as if with her wings. I stayed in Dakshineswar so many years. No one saw my private life. So see, even Lakshmi Devi talks about all her accounts as she visualizes Holy Mother's daily life in Nahabat. Lakshmi Devi was niece of Sri Ramakrishna. She says, at Dakshineswar we stayed in the Nahabat. When Master wished to indicate the mother to his visitors, he would make a circle with his friend fingers at the tip of the nose. This was because the mother wore a nose ring. He used to refer to the Nahabat as a cage and to us as shuk and sari. Those are the two birds. When fruits and sweets that had been offered to the Divine Mother were brought to the Master, he would remind Brother Ramlal, don't forget that there are two birds in that cage. Give them some fruits and peas. Newcomers would take the Master's words literally. So see, this is how she lived in that small little house. Yet she was so happy, she was so content, and she says, this was where I found my most of my bliss. Those were my most blissful days. Because she lived with Thakur, she lived with Sri Ramakrishna. She thought about him the whole day. If you like our videos, do subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned to Devakshar all the time. And thank you so much for joining us today. Namaskar.